All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Anyone that is not able to see this live will be able to see the recording since a few people look like they're going to be late. But we want to go ahead and get started because this will span about 30 to 45 minutes. Welcome to The Undeniable Advantage. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what is required in this new economy, we need to understand some background context behind what's happening so that you, as a new entrepreneur under 5 years in business, know how to position yourself in the times that are coming. Now, I'm Tiffany Garside. I'm a copywriter and marketing agency owner of 9 years, going on 10 years in April. I've collectively helped my clients get $31.9 million in collective revenue across finance, education technology, AI evaluations. That's a new industry that I've gotten in most recently, and even e-commerce and beauty businesses. So, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the economy. We got to talk about macroeconomics. According to reports, B2B buyers spend only 17% of their decision journey actually speaking to vendors. Now, all of that, except for the one at the bottom, actually the two at the bottom, are from McKinsey and Company, okay? And so a B2B buyer is someone that wants your business service. So B2C is business to consumer. B2B is you are offering a service to another business. For example, a marketing agency typically offers their services to another business, somebody that is reputable in law as it relates to business finance or to copyright is most likely going to be working with another business. So that's a B2B service as well. And then Deloitte data shows executive burnout is at an all-time high, with over half of founders reporting decision fatigue as their primary performance limiter, not a lack of skill. This is super huge because executives everywhere feel that something is changing in the market. In fact, you may be one of those executives that was recently let go. UPS actually announced that they're going to let go an additional 30,000 people in 2026. Now, in 2025, they have already let go of 48,000 people. Combined, that's 78,000 people just from 2025 to 2026. I know that you see the headlines with Black women not being able to get as many jobs in the workforce and being laid off. And so we're at a really critical point here where you have to decide, am I going to thrive or am I going to just survive? Now, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics shows workforce participation has volatility, especially among senior operators who are balancing relocation, caregiving, and capacity restraints. So a lot of these boomer businesses are going out of business. A lot of people who are maybe post 50 years old do not have the time to get into tech and AI, and that gives you an advantage, an undeniable one. And then Bain and Company confirms what many of you are already feeling. More than 80% of buyers say most marketing content feels interchangeable. I saw another statistic today that was quite interesting on my Instagram feed. Actually, it said that 64% of internet search traffic is actually not done by humans. It's done by AI robots. And so what does this mean for you who is a new entrepreneur under 5 years in business? The issue isn't that buyers don't want to move. It's the movement now requires psychological safety and not persuasion. We are in a trust recession. We're in a real world recession, but we're also in a trust recession where buyers are not as trusting anymore. They need to have multiple touch points with you, which is why you'll find me on so many channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, my email marketing newsletter, my LinkedIn newsletter, and Threads. And so this is why being excellent stopped compounding the way it used to. In fact, excellence in itself does not really work because you can be really excellent at what you do, but still not know how to sell your offer. You can be fantastic at what you do but you still don't have people who want to work with you. Now, this is where we are going to divert to Instagram, okay? So, this is my Instagram, and I want to show you the undeniable advantage here so you can see how simple it is to create content that generates sales. For a lot of people, they feel like I have to run ads, which you don't have to do. I don't even run ads. You don't have to have some radio, TV talk show. You don't have to pay for a broadcast studio on some platform. None of that is what you need. Truly, the undeniable advantage is something that you're going to learn in this session called organic content marketing. Organic content marketing is exactly what you see on the screen here. Also on the screen on my website, my second website. I have three websites actually, but this is a secondary one. Organic content marketing is essentially you posting, you not having to run ads with thousands and thousands of dollars, you not having to lose any money with risk in investing in billboards, but you are posting your own content to speak to the readiness of a specific buyer. Okay. Now, as you see, I'm showing you my organic data from Instagram. In the last 90 days, I had 66,000 views. By the way, my follower count on Instagram actually isn't really that much. It's 3,000, about 3,200 people. And I had 66,000 views from Instagram alone in the last 90 days. You can see 74% of that traffic was driven by Reels, which is like a short form platform that kind of mimics TikTok, but they're short videos, typically less than 3 minutes, and then stories, and then posts. Okay. And so that's all organic. This is not using any ad spend or anything of that nature. Okay. Still showing my Instagram. It can be very organic. And then our media company, our YouTube channel, is all organic, meaning we create the content, we do not run any ads, and the channel gets 589,000 views in the last 90 days. Now, a lot of people will spend tens and thousands of dollars. We even have clients that spend tens of thousands of dollars per month in an attempt to drive traffic to their organization. Now, here is my private podcast, the Introvert Marketer Podcast, 118,000 views just in the last month or in the last 90 days. Okay. So that is proof that organic marketing works. Ad spend does not work as much, and you may not even have ad spend to spend. You may be someone that ad spend doesn't even work for you because putting $500 into Instagram or Facebook meta ads, putting 1,000. I have a client who puts $10,000 and has seen a decrease in the quality of lead generation that she has had. And so she has had to go to the more organic route. Now, this is the truth behind why great is no longer a differentiator. Because for years, the formula was quite simple. It was do good work, get visible, grow steadily. That was the easy age of entrepreneurship, actually. That was back in 2016, 2018. It was very simple to grow because there was not enough competition in the marketplace. AI was not a thing back in. There wasn't this huge information overhaul that everybody is experiencing today. That was when everything was simple and easy. But today, even though talent is abundant, tools are democratized and credentials are literally everywhere, you know, trust is still more scarce than ever before. And this is where your soft skills come in, which is the ability to empathize and to understand how a client feels with you and give you an opportunity to dominate in the marketplace. Your soft skills, as you can position them in your business through your content marketing, is the way that you are going to convert clients in any type of landscape. Again, I've been in business 9 years. So I was in business during the pandemic, had no issue selling during the pandemic. And even in the pandemic, my business exploded. Why? Because when there is a recession in the market, there's actually an opportunity for people who lead with empathy and lead with ethical marketing and sales. Now, Mark Twain once observed that people are less afraid of ignorance than they are of embarrassment. And that's still true, except now the embarrassment is choosing wrong. Buyers are not asking, is this person good? What they're actually asking is, will choosing this simplify or complicate my life? And if the answer is not immediately clear, well, the decision is going to stall. Now, let's talk about buyer psychology in the 2026-2030 economy. We're going to go through 4 to 5 stages here. Okay. So, number one is the life stage collision. More buyers are making business decisions while relocating internationally, managing aging parents, scaling with smaller teams, or intentionally reducing capacity. So they're not optimizing for growth at all costs. They're actually optimizing for stability, containment, and energy preservation. Number two is the risk intensification. So this is basically where people feel like there is more risk in the market. So your job as an entrepreneur is to understand that you also need to handle the marketing of your business and reduce the perceived risk that people feel when they come across your business. So according to PwC, nearly 70% of executives say they fear making the wrong strategic bet more than missing out on an opportunity, which really shows a huge gap in the market. That's a huge amount of executives, 70% of people. Buyers are like this as well, especially when it's B2B. They don't want to make the wrong business decision. They don't want to work with someone that is not going to solve their problems in actuality. Number three is decision fatigue. Harvard Business Review notes the decision quality declines dramatically under sustained complexity. Most businesses are going through sustained complexity. No matter what your expertise is, if you want to work with other businesses and corporations, you have to reduce the decision fatigue that your client meets before coming across your business. Now, what that can look like, for example, on my website, that actually looks like having blogs available for them, having an about section, having a home section of my website that allows them to click to work with me right away. These are those UX or user experience guidelines that you are going to want to have in your business as well. Okay. So back to our presentation here. When you offer more ideas, more frameworks, more possibilities, you probably think it's helping, and it just doesn't help. It really confuses people. We have this psychological framework in copywriting that's a foundation where the idea is that you only speak to one audience at a time. You do not give somebody more than 2 choices at a time. I was talking with one of my clients the other week, and she was discussing how she's an e-commerce business. So she's typically going to work with somebody that owns a fashion line or a body care shop or something that is product based, not necessarily service based like we are in this meeting. But she was saying they will come and try to purchase all of these products, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 wasted in buying so much product from China or from Mexico or from whoever their supplier is, only to find that they're not able to sell the product because they did not start with one core message. Both B2B and B2C, which is business to consumer, have this issue. This is where readiness stops becoming a nice to have and becomes critical. And I actually want to go over this blog with you that I wrote a couple of years ago because it's so relevant on this topic. This is the power of one, the power of niching down to provide real results, okay? This is why you have to have a niche. So if you're in this meeting right now and you're like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to change my business in this way, you're probably complicating things far beyond the context of what it really needs to be complicated at. 9 times out of 10, you need to reduce friction and simplify, come up with one signature offer. Even in the e-commerce example I was telling you about, my client Edwina, she was saying even for product-based businesses, they should only have one signature offer until they hit their first $1 million in sales. One core offer, then from then, or one core product, which her example was like if it's Fashion Nova, they had a line of just one pair of jeans. If it's a candle company, you have one signature candle that you're known for because you're thinking, hey, I can just add all this stuff and it's going to just sell more. But that's not the case when it comes down to buyer psychology. That's not how it works. And it's going to be even more so the case in 2026 and beyond when buyers are like, hey, I actually don't even know what I want because there's so much to choose from, especially if you're a new entrepreneur under 5 years in business, okay? This is extremely pertinent for you and important for you because one, you don't have the money and ad spend to waste 5, 10, 20, $30,000. So you need to be focused with your marketing efforts. Something else you should understand about marketing a business is when you have too many products, it also complicates your marketing. So the effectiveness of your marketing is actually going to decrease when you add more and more products, okay? So we're going to go down here and go to the area that I wanted to go to specifically. How to create a singular message focused on one type of problem. This is on my business agency website, TiffyGWrites.co. So you can either go to TiffyGWrites.co or TiffyGWrites.ai. Both of those have loads of blogs where you can really master marketing. But creating a singular message focused on one main platform or problem requires you to understand your target audience's pain points and their desires. You need to identify the problem your target audience is facing and create a message that speaks directly to that problem. This is the work we go through in the 20-question framework for Undeniable, the hybrid program that you may be interested in. Now, for example, an e-commerce business that sells women's shoes, your target audience's problem might be finding shoes that fit well. Your message would have to focus on that specific pain point of the woman with wide feet and how the shoes are designed to fit her unique needs. Now, to create a singular message, you have to focus on a few core steps here. Identify your target audience's pain points and desires. I want you to think of this like a psychological profile. So we're not really wanting to look at, oh, she's age 45 and she loves to shop at Nordstrom and she had a job at so-and-so. Some of those demographic type of things and where she's located, things of that nature, really don't matter from a buyer psychology and sales perspective, although they will add those in corporate marketing, especially in corporate America. But really where you get down to helping someone understand your business and helping them solve their main core issue is you have to understand the psychology behind that buyer, where they're at in their life. What are the 3 things they're most afraid of? What are the 3 biggest issues they're having? Narrow it down to one main core issue that you can come in and solve. Number 2, determine the specific problem that your audience is facing. Number 3, create a message that speaks directly to that problem. And number 4, you need to test and refine your message over time. Now, there are 4 different buyer types that you must appeal. This is one of the most critical aspects of this webinar, actually, because most people don't know that there are 4 core buyer types that exist in the world. So we're going to go over those here. You have the competitive buyer, the spontaneous buyer, the humanistic buyer, and then the methodological buyer. Methodological buyer. That's a hard word to say. That's a tongue twister. But the competitive buyer type uses language that emphasizes how your solution is superior to your competitors. This is where statistics and data really come in. This person is assessing your business next to another person's business. This is why it's super important to have your website copy up, your sales pages. Make sure you also audit your website, highlight any awards and recognition that your brand has received if you do not have enough testimonials yet. Next, we have the spontaneous buyer. You're going to see this mostly with an e-commerce business where you're mostly using persuasive language and emotional appeal, somebody that just like wants to feel relaxed. So you may have a candle brand that's like, feel relaxed at home when you grab this comfy cushion and sit on your couch and light this candle. That's a very emotional appeal, which doesn't really work that well with high ticket service-based buyers. Now, The humanistic buyer needs a different type of emotional connection. They want to feel like they're contributing to something that's bigger than themselves. So, this is someone that needs you to use storytelling to show how your product or service can positively impact the world. There is a certain hair care company that I'm subscribed to. I've been subscribed to them for like maybe 7 years now, about 7 years. It's a Ghanaian cocoa butter company, but they always have emails about the work that they're doing in Ghana. And so that is their their goal of appealing to the humanistic buyer that wants to see this community engagement, these interactions, how they're shaping the bigger world, how they're helping workers in Ghana in their business. Lastly, is the methodological buyer. This is someone that needs detailed information. This is someone that won't necessarily watch a webinar, but they do come back and watch a recording, and they need an enrollment guide, and they need to read every detail about a sales page. They are going to be binging your social media. They're going to really try to understand your philosophy to see if you're basically about that life, if you're about what you say that you're about. They're my favorite type of buyer because it's really simple to market to them since I love writing. But if you are someone that values your brand visibility, values making a podcast, making a blog, showing up online, it's simple to appeal to these buyers. These buyers are typically also that B2B corporation that is going to want to hire you. How do I know? I've worked with these corporations: Clever Education Technology, Teach for America, Function of Beauty. These are very large businesses. And I did not have to know anyone secretly. I didn't have to go to any networking events. I didn't have to jump through any hoops. They simply read my website and said, yes, she's the one that we want to work with. So, as you consider the main four buyer types when you create your marketing, you will create one singular message that appeals simultaneously to four different buyer types. And that is part of the undeniable advantage. Now, back to our slides here. Since we covered that blog, let's talk about why more content and effort just simply backfire. And it sounds counterintuitive if you just post a lot of stuff and just do a lot of things and show up behind the scenes and just buy more followers and do all these really vanity metric focused ideas. You think that's going to help your business. You buy 5,000 mailers from USPS and you mail out about your business, and you're like, well, I have to find one client, right? But that's not really how true business and marketing should operate. The best businesses and the best successful marketers know that they have to create an era of exclusivity with their buyer. So, this is the paradox that most capable operators hit. They feel the slowdown and respond by adding things on. Early stage founders who are under or around 5 years in business tend to add too many things at once: a new offer, a new team, hire a new team in the Philippines, fire them, then hire somebody else, get a new funnel, get a new product, go to 10 different mentorships, instead of focusing on one core offer and message, and then duplicate that one signature offer and message across various platforms. That's what I do even to this day. 9 years in business, I really still do the same thing in the way that I operate my marketing agency that I did in 2020. The main difference is that I've hired copywriters, that I've hired operators, that I've hired graphics people, and I've distributed that content. And I use AI in my business as well to do this. I distribute that content simultaneously to multiple platforms. That is the undeniable advantage that I teach you inside the hybrid one-to-one program that spans 90 days. So even if you don't have $50,000 to put into your business right now, there is a methodology that you can use to expand your reach without running ads. And it's solved by sequence and containment, because the quiet reality of marketing and business is if a buyer has to mentally organize your value, they are already tired. They already clicked off the page. If it's not super clear to them, if it's not clear in your social media content, if it's not clear in anything that you're providing, they are going to click off and they're going to go with the competition. And in the current economy, the businesses that win They are not the loudest. They are the ones that make the next step obvious and make their reader's life easier even before they work with them. An example would be a session like this providing extreme and undeniable value. So here's what life looks like during Undeniable, the one-to-one hybrid program. I want to be very clear about what this is not. This is not like a quote unquote mindset container of motivation. You have to show up motivated in and of yourself. There is either high achievers or low achievers. You have to choose which one you're going to be in this season of your life. This is not a content sprint. This is not any type of challenge where you see people say like, oh, this is an online challenge or we're doing this for 30 days. This is not that. This is also not a program that adds more to your plate. Now, during Undeniable, you're going to experience that life gets simpler and your sales engine begins to bring in traction instead of crickets. You will already have website copy written by an expert, not by AI, with a 90-day content marketing roadmap that shows you exactly what to post day in and day out. And then my favorite thing is during month 3 of the program, we go over data analysis, the same data analysis that I do for corporations like Clever Education Technology, African ancestry, or my finance client, Bernice Hassan and Associates. They will have me go in every single month and show them their data so that they can make data-informed marketing decisions. Now, this is going to position you to be the quiet CEO next door, making heavy moves in your business rather than just quote unquote side hustling. Now, clients consistently describe this experience as fewer open loops, less decisions that they have to carry alone. A lot of people don't know that as an entrepreneur, you will have such pressure and resistance and decisions and all these different things that you have to do. And you don't know until you hire somebody that they can take all of that off of your plate, especially this container, because it isn't just coaching. It's a one-to-one hybrid consulting container where I actually write your social media captions, write your copy. That makes it easier for you to just post and get better with being on camera. That makes it easier for you if it's already written. All you need to do is post it, right? That's what marketing agencies do. And I'm glad to be able to bring that same quality without you having to spend $3,000 to $5,000 per month or $55,000 per year, like our agency clients do, to get that same level of value. Now, there are also going to be fewer explanations required in your business. Everything is going to become more contained. Everything has a pathway, or like my granny used to say, talking about her house and how she liked to have everything in her house. Everything has a home. You know what goes where, you know what times to schedule, you know why you're doing it, and you even have a bottleneck matrix to show you if sales slow down, if traction slows down, here's what you post. Here's what you do in your business. These are the revenue generating activities that you can take right now. So instead of you thinking, what should I be doing right now? You know what matters, you know what can wait, and you know what no longer deserves energy, because sometimes in business that also looks like cutting off dead ends or getting rid of subscription services or switching your investments from being more like, let me just buy more products or let me just buy more of something that doesn't really articulate to sales, instead of focusing on getting better at sales. The only way to get better at sales is to master marketing and sales. And so now you're probably wondering, what does life look like after Undeniable? Well, the shift is going to be so clear. You're going to walk away with an audited website message during month 1. Month 2, an email and social media marketing strategy, whether you need to grow a list of qualified buyers or you already have a list. Now, if you needed to grow a list of qualified buyers, we are focusing on your lead magnet and driving traffic to that lead magnet. If you already have a list of qualified buyers, we are focused on writing and scheduling your emails and social campaigns so that you're no longer chasing alignment, over-articulating your value, or compensating for buyer hesitation without marketing knowledge that you need to execute. Instead, conversations will move faster, Decisions feel cleaner and demand becomes more serious for your offers. Your internal compass feels more at ease. You're going to experience less stress and you can start to become the visionary again who's actually excited about their business, who sees strategy and new growth on the horizon. Now, for some people, that's going to translate into additional vacation time. For others, it's going to look like investing in video production for their podcasts. I laugh at this one because this is what one of my clients did. She's unlike many of my other clients. A lot of clients, they'll hire me on and we'll work together and then they'll be focused on another area of their business. But she actually hired like a whole video production team while I'm writing her emails, looking at data analysis, and showing her what our themes need to be. She then hired a video production team for her podcast in her office and started redoing her office. And then, still for others, it's about spending more time enrolling and working with clients who want your or who went through, I should say, your 7 stages of readiness that we cover in Undeniable, the one-to-one hybrid program. And all of this is not going to be because you pushed harder, but because choosing you feels safe. That is what compounds now in a trust recession, in a true recession. People want safety and they want you to be that safe space. And there's a way that you can articulate your value online, especially with the art of writing copy, where you show people that they can trust you. So before we get to the invitation, I actually want to go to my Instagram so that you can see in real time what it looks like to write captions that convert. Now, the cool thing about captions is it's not just that you can only use it on Instagram. This is something we go over in the container as well. This is a corporate marketing hack that you are going to want to know as an entrepreneur. Your captions can be translated into emails as well using something like a hook. For example, this is one of my favorite posts right now, because I was talking about my life. And so this automatically tells somebody just from the hook. I grew up watching my mother sell $18,000 handcrafted art vases from our basement in an elite Jewish university, or to an elite Jewish university. This automatically tells somebody, okay, this is not AI written. This was something that she's remembering from her childhood. You want to have those moments with clients. And so you can see it there. I'll keep scrolling slowly so that you can take a look. You can even pause the video if you're watching the replay. And so I'm talking about how on the weekends, she taught small group art classes inside high caliber nursing homes. She would do a group consulting, group coaching, $260 per person, 8 to 12 spots all around Columbus, Ohio, with varying contracts with all of the nursing homes that were in our area. She was one of one in the market. There really wasn't anybody else in the market doing that at that time. And I discussed how she did it out of abundance, not bargaining, not anything like that. The rooms were calm, the clients were decided, and the value was already assumed, okay? Long before I understood funnels, I understood environments. Who you sell to matters less than where your work is positioned. Price is rarely the problem, context is. And most founders think sales is about explaining more and convincing more and posting more. But the most powerful transactions I've witnessed happen quietly inside rooms already aligned for decision making. What looked like art was actually infrastructure. What looked like teaching was actually distribution. And what looked like talent was placement strategy. I didn't grow up learning marketing terms. I grew up learning how demand behaves when it feels safe, which is what we've literally been talking about today. And that lesson never left me. It's why I built systems that don't beg, emails that don't chase, and offers that don't introduce themselves. Because when placement is right, the scale doesn't feel like a sale. It feels inevitable. And inevitability is the highest form of authority for those honored to be in the room. Now, another caption. And you can see some of these are actually using AI avatars. You probably watch this video on YouTube, redistribute it to Instagram, and you can see the likes and things of that nature, further reminding you and showing you, you do not have to have the most likes, the most influence or popularity to book clients and get sales. Oh, yes, this is another one of my favorite captions. It went with a reel. So this is the grand piano marketing effect. I'm asking them, is this you? Now, the grand piano sentence you see here, this is what we call a hook. If you were writing an email to send to your list, this hook would be applied to the subject line. Okay, that's how you use it on two different platforms. Is this you? They bought it with intention, placed it in a room where decisions were supposed to happen, touched the keys once or twice, then got busy. When they finally sit down again, they pound the keys hard, fast, loud. And they call it marketing. What they don't realize is that volume has never been the problem. Fluency is. A grand piano does not reward enthusiasm as much as it rewards precision. It responds to the hands that return often, the ones that know when to pause, the ones that understand that silence is part of the music. Email works the same way. It's not a megaphone. It's not a billboard. It's not a place for announcements made by strangers. It's a private room, a controlled environment, a place where serious buyers listen before they speak. Affluent buyers don't need convincing. They need coherence. They can hear when a message has been practiced over and over. They can feel when it hasn't. Most entrepreneurs sit at the piano only when they want applause. They strike keys, they miss notes, they blame the instrument. But the businesses that win do something else. They practice when no one is watching. They write when there is nothing to sell, and they develop rhythm before they attempt performance. Over time, something will shift. The room goes quiet and decisions get easier. Replies come without chasing because the player finally learned the instrument, okay? So this is the value of being able to write really, really good copy. That's what your persuasions and conversions are all about, okay? So those are a few of my captions. I'm looking for one in particular. I think I had the one about the doctor, but I wanted to go a different route. Okay, we can use this case study. I'll have to go back too far. Now, this is a case study from a doctor who was a client, and she received $58,000 in 89 days from this specific launch, okay? And so 6 years ago, she dumped the bedside for her own business. She used to only do lives on Instagram, but she scaled and didn't have time for content that lasted just 72 hours. Hello, social media. It's only going to last 72 hours. Like when you're on Instagram, people are probably only going to see that post for 48 hours, if not less. So she wanted infrastructure that didn't require her hands to execute. She was in the middle of a new book and building a new 4K offer, but momentum stalled. This is where it's pertinent to hire a team on. So that's what she did. She already had a team of operators, but she needed a team that could have a marketing director and copywriter to consult with the other people on the team because too many decisions lived in her head at once. So here's what we focused on, not more emails, but better decisions. Launch sequencing, email architecture, upsell logic for her sales page. We go over sales pages. It takes a minute. It's actually pretty lengthy, but we go over that in the program as well. And content pacing for sustainability. Everything was designed to work together, okay? And so that was that carousel. And so that is how simple content marketing can be. That it's really that simple, but it does take consistency. So let's go back here. At the end of this session, I'll send you a private page by email as well as the recording for this session. There's no pitch here. There's no decision to make. This is simply me sending you a response from our presentation today with two paths that you can intentionally follow. Either magnetic emails, the VIP day for operators. So this is for you if you've been in business for a long time, but you specifically want 20 emails in a span of 7 days. So this is for a very expert path type of person who's probably on here watching that already has a business, already knows a little bit about content marketing, but wants me to write 20 emails for them in a span of just 1 week. Okay, we stay on a call for 3 hours to get your sales engineering together as if you were hiring a corporate sales engineer into your business. And then the other option is clearly undeniable, the advisory. Okay, For founders navigating complexity, growth, relocation, or capacity shifts who want ongoing decision support, not tactics. Again, that's a 3-month offer. We work together in 90 days. Not only do you receive consulting, but I also write your copy for you. And this is for you if you're already invested in education or mentorship. You have an offer, service, or expertise, but you know it's time to tighten it. You're tired of making high stakes decisions in isolation. Ooh, that one probably really hits home. So many entrepreneurs, especially new ones, will, and this is really the differentiating factor of whether you're going to be successful quicker or if you're going to go the long road of isolation and figuring things out on your own, because business is very complex. This is why there's marketing, HR, contractors, accounting, and even within marketing, there's email marketing, social media marketing, lead generation, retention marketing, SMS marketing, blog writing, SEO. There are so many different factions just in marketing itself. So going entrepreneurship alone is really the worst decision you can make. It's really about deciding who you're going to work with, who you trust. And then you want an external strategist who will say, this holds, move, to give you that confirmation. So many of my clients over the last 9 years, whether they're marketing agencies, finance firms, education technology, or new entrepreneurs, want somebody to give them a second yes or a level of, hey, you got this, do it in this direction. That's what consulting is for. So, over 3 months, here's how we install certainty into your business. Month 1 is orientation, market truth, and authority. If your foundation is even slightly off, everything downstream feels heavy. This month is going to eliminate that. We work through my strategic 20-question framework diagnostic to collapse positioning confusion. Real market research, what your buyers already know, trust, and believe. And then website copy written or refined so your site filters, not explains. That's the undeniable advantage month 1. So your outcomes, you stop questioning who you're for and what you sell. Your authority feels settled. Your decisions get lighter. Month 2 is where it's about visibility without drain. At this stage, visibility should not feel chaotic. We complete your full social media audit, what's working, what's leaking energy, and a 3-month content calendar aligned with authority and revenue. No more scrambling, not posting for validation, not posting just to keep up, just for fun, but actual posts that are designed to generate revenue for your business over the next 3 to 6 months. The outcome is your message compounds instead of resetting. Visibility is going to feel intentional and not exhausting, not like you're just posting in the dark and you have no idea what you're talking about. Then lastly, in month 3 is your revenue infrastructure. This is where your certainty is going to lock in. Many times when working with one-to-one clients, it's really month 3 where people are like, oh, I get the bigger picture. It's really hard if you're not in marketing, if you're not an expert in marketing yet, to fully grasp content marketing, retention, how to look at your key performance indicators and see what you need to post. This is really that month where it's like, okay, I can see how the data analysis makes a difference. This is where we focus on email strategy and analytics, what matters and what doesn't. I write your first 10 emails to establish tone and trust, and you learn how to continue using my bespoke email framework from the past 9 years and $31 million in collective revenue for clients across finance, healthcare, technology, and more. Your marketing is going to work when you're offline. Your revenue is going to feel measurable, and you are going to trust your own system. And again, you're going to be like the CEO next door, the quiet CEO that is signing all these international clients, if that's who you want to work with, international clients, or local clients, if that's what you want to do. Now, if neither fits, that is going to be clarity for you as well. If neither opportunity fits, if neither container fits, that is okay as well. Because the next era does not reward effort, it rewards clarity under constraint. That is the message that I want to leave you with. And the businesses that thrive in 2026 to 2030, they are not going to look busier. They're going to look more calm because their value is no longer up for interpretation. It's undeniable. You will receive a follow-up via email, and you will get this document as well. So glad to have you here. Thanks for joining this session. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you next time.